Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the best reactions. Today, we're reflecting on the Miami Grand Prix, a race weekend full of celebrities, full of competitive sessions, with it being a sprint weekend, and us having enough to talk about and argue on social media to keep us going until Imola. Let's get into your reactions. In P10, we have Ruad Staghorn. Yes, squabble amongst yourselves. Of course, Verstappen versus Norris. I bet Oscar, it kind of made me, reminded me, on when I used to play the Formula 1 game and league racing and stuff, and you'd get through and sometimes be in the lead, and then you'd hope that second and third would start battling a lot so you could extend your gap. That is probably how Oscar felt when he looked in his mirrors and saw them not there. 9 seconds down the road by the time they'd finished fighting, and Oscar was like, thank you very much. P9, Chaitanya Malik. Clearly they realised when everyone started pitting. Yeah, this one, what's going on? I know we have the timing tower has been incredibly unreliable this year, has it not? It's had so many wobbles, and this time, just no tyres, no tyre information. It took me far too long to realise George Russell was starting on hard tyres. I thought Hamilton was potentially the highest starting runner down in 12th, but alas, it started working again. Formula One's a small sport, everybody. We got to give them time because they've got limited resource. But the TV direction was good, so we can't have everything, right? P8, Alpha Zog. The two Ferraris overtaking Sainz in the same corner. I love how this meme was made. Maybe you are a Ferrari fan, but you might also, if you are a Ferrari fan, need to be reminded that we were fighting the Williams. We were fighting the Williams and Carlos Sainz, a supposed demotion, when Williams are, in fact, on the up, the fourth fastest car, and Ferrari have been plummeted down to fifth fastest, in my opinion. So I'm not sure how much laughing is going on with Hamilton and Leclerc, unless they're in Lego cars. Now, my first thing away from the hashtag P1 and away from the top 10 comes in from F1 Multiviewer, who we use for our streams. Big shout out to them. We can't do a race later because of F1 activities on track. The activities in question. I had to include it. I had to. Just a picture, just to remind ourselves of how much fun that was. We watched 20 of the best drivers in the world tearing around in Lego cars at 20 kilometers an hour. 40,000 bricks a piece. A car. And honestly, I was smiling from ear to ear watching that entire thing. I don't know how they would ever top a driver's parade like that. But to hear Hamilton cackling away at filming his own POV, it was just so wholesome. P7, Tim Kotzer, Miami Grand Prix, an accurate representation of its entertainment. Yeah, it wasn't a bad race. I know some people are not happy unless we get 57 or however many laps of pure side-by-side racing from lights out to the checkered flag. We had 15 laps of very good racing right at the front, battles for the lead, battles for the podium. It did calm down, and I think the main reason for perhaps our disappointment by the end of it is that we were promised rain and it didn't happen. George Russell even said it was raining. Where was the rain, George? We don't trust George Russell now, obviously, after the sweat in his visor incident. And maybe that is the problem. We should not be aired rain threats until it is actually happening. P6, Gavin Curley. Hamilton over the radio to the Ferrari pit wall. That's being sarcastic. I'm still not over the Hamilton team radio stuff. It was just pure gold. Now, as obviously wanting to see Ferrari do very well, it's not what my first choice of source of happiness would be, is these team radios. You know, you think of Alonso back at McLaren Honda, and great drivers stuck in poor situations can cause for these funny team radio moments. But I would rather than be fighting right at the front, not finishing a minute behind the win. But thank you, Hamilton, for giving us some source, a slither of happiness. Happiness? Is it happiness or is it just coping? Either or. Thank you, Lewis, for being sassy. Right, let's get into some honourable mentions. You didn't make the top 10, but we're going to include some of you anyway. Craig Hadley. Anyone? Linked to the Hamilton radios. Hamilton has saved this race for the memes. Fred Vasseur. I love him so much as a character and as a personality, but he needs to fix a few things at Ferrari. And when I say fix a few things, just focus on 2026. I said it on the podcast. I'll say it again. Tools down. Let's go to the new regs. We'll just cut this season off. Maybe have a few podiums. Celebrate that like it's a win. And figure out the team comms. Because as much as Hamilton was complaining, yeah, and he was well within his right to, there was the team radio that wasn't aired where he was being spoken to into the breaking point of turn 1. And I think it was about K1 again. I think it was like, and Hamilton was like, why on earth are you talking to me in the braking zone? Can we at least tie these things up? It's basic knowledge. At the Michael Gray, just a chill guy, winning a 3rd straight race, first in the standings, driving away from the field. Oscar Piastri could not be more the chill guy if he tried. Once again, a phenomenal drive. Yes, Lando was quicker in that second stint, but once again Oscar started 4th, kept his nose clean and won the race, and dispatched of Max Verstappen, which is not an easy feat as we've seen in the past. At Lals Keck W Lurt, that is one of the wildest usernames I've ever seen. The leader's in turn 1 at the start of every race. Yeah, I'm not happy about this. Not happy about this. I do get how some people, a lot of people, maybe 50-50 in terms of the split of the whole Max Verstappen Lando Norris debacle in the second and third corner. I don't like the forcing off stuff, and maybe that's where my sadness comes from. I watched an Oscar Piastri on board on F1 TV, watching that unfold in turns 2 and 3. I just don't like the fact drivers can be forced off. When do they earn room? And at what stage? Because it just feels like it's too late. They're side by side. I want to see that continue, not just end immediately with a driver getting shoved off. At Gavin Curley 90, everybody watching the Miami GP waiting for the rain that never came. Let me know. Let me know in the comments right now if you were aggrieved by the fact we didn't get the rain, because how beautiful of a story that would have been. The first 15 laps, dry action, battles for the lead. Then it just transitions into a 20-lap heavy rain. Then it's a wet to dry race for the rest of the ground. Wow. That would have been a blockbuster. But sadly, it missed the track. F1_dynamic. Hamilton letting Sainz through to disrupt the tea party. That is a meme. That is a meme that is now in your eyes as well. It's a reason why I only made honourable mentions, because it is bizarre. But look, there was some effort there with some headshots being put into a letting through meme. So there you go. Maria_WF1, the Miami fastest lap. Be like Oscar, Lando, just trading fastest laps. They were so clear. 1 second a lap most of the time. They were faster than the rest of the field. Can we, please, in Imola or at some point this season, see an Oscar-Lando battle? An actual battle? I beg. Prof_Chuckles, Ferrari during the Miami GP. I've seen that picture so many times with the clown meme and everything else. I've not seen them win cups of tea. That's good, Professor Chuckles. I enjoyed that. Well done. Twacky24, Miami GP graphics department be like. Yeah, there were some interesting ones, weren't there? The final one in particular, I love how they brought up a battle for 13th between Gasly and Hulkenberg. And the previous lap, I think Hulkenberg had gained 0.2. So I'm thinking, firstly, why are we even hyping up this battle for 13th? Is that how bad this Miami race is? Potentially. But secondly, he wasn't catching that fast. It's time for controversial opinions, which means it's time for Tom Bellingham to come in. Look at him, waving away. Beautiful complexion, as always. Tommy, what have you brought to the table this week for controversial opinion?
Okay, so this one is from M. Courtney87, and it's, if Max didn't fight the McLaren so hard, he would have had a podium instead of George.
Ooh, so I can confirm is not Lando Norris's burner account, because that's also similar comments to what Lando made after the race. Go on, well, Tommy, this is about your boy.
I've got strong opinions about this.
This is your boy, mate. So I'm gonna let you cook, and then I'll see where I land.
Okay, so point one, he lost the podium because of the badly timed virtual safety car, which wasn't his fault, and that's why George got ahead of him. That was unfortunate. The second point is, I am convinced that some people just don't enjoy racing because heaven forbid that Max Verstappen actually defends his position and doesn't think about delta time and just wants to actually, have a good race, defend his position, fight for all it's worth. We need to see more stuff like that because, how do you let Lando through? It's very easy to kind of be like, oh, well, it helps with his delta and all this kind of stuff, and maybe it would have been quicker throughout the whole race. But then equally, if there'd been a safety car or Lando gets a penalty or something later on, you could be closer to him. So I don't think it should be a case of like drivers, oh, off you go, McLaren's are so much quicker, I don't want to see that, and I don't think Max should have done that personally, and the only reason he lost that podium was through the VSC.
And it's not in Max's blood anyway. He's never going to give up, especially the lead or second place very easily. And as you quite rightly point out, anything can happen in a Formula One race. Yes, Max ended up finishing over half a minute behind the two McLarens, but there was rain forecast, and we all know what Max is like in the rain. He's trying to slow them down as much as he possibly can because you never know what the next 10 laps are going to bring in a race. So I disagree with anyone that says that he messed up a potential P3. Because, as you say, it was unlucky the fact that the VSC came out. George Russell was able to benefit from being able to pit under it and stayed ahead of Max after that on new mediums. So I don't think you can't, because flip the script and one of those many scenarios we've just put out happens, and we're questioning, well, why did Max not fight and defend? And we want to see.
He would have won the race if he hadn't just let the driver through immediately.
And he was defending so brilliantly as well. Obviously, we all have our own opinions on lap one, but when he was actually defending from Piastri, it was brilliant to watch. And then same with Lando as well. He was positioning the car so well. So I'm in favour of racing. So are you, Tommy. You're also in favour of cars being pushed off on lap one and not being penalised.
Oh, don't get me started on that, because I've got an even stronger opinion on that now.
My goodness. Save it for driver ratings.
I take it back. Yeah, okay.
Save it for driver ratings. I don't know what you're taking back. I'm scared of you now, Tommy, but we'll see you in driver ratings for Tommy's sassy opinions on that. Thank you, Tommy. You're supposed to say thanks, Matt, and then wave and say bye.
Thank you so much, Matthew Gallagher.
I've riled you up.
I miss you so much. Goodbye.
Oh, lovely. We're off to P5, F1_Ind1. You have freed us. Let's say freed. More like under new management. 3 in a row, Oscar Piastri. Tried to hit the griddy, though, didn't he, after he made a promise to someone I've already forgotten, because I'm not familiar with many American sport celebrities, but he made a promise to do the griddy, and I think severely regretted it because he hadn't practiced after starting 4th. He thought, I'm probably not going to win the race. He did anyway, and we are now under Oscar Piastri management. Right, another funny thing I want to include away from the hashtag P1, it comes in from the Australian Grand Prix. This is awesome. Shout out to these two legends watching the Miami Grand Prix from Albert Park this morning. How good is that setup? They've got an actual television on nice little deck chairs. I'd love to know how they're powering that. I'm sounding like I'm completely and utterly unaware of technology that is available these days, but that is a setup that I can absolutely appreciate. Although I am concerned if the sun comes out and then glares the screen, what do you do then? But fair play to those two lads. We go to P4, and Lars Kek-W Lur has slipped through the net to get into the top 10 with just a silly meme which made me chuckle a little bit. Williams is better than Ferrari. What the hell is a Williams doing in P5? Alex Albon, I bow down to you. I was not familiar with your game. I thought Carlos Sainz was going to come in and give you a proper run for your money, and do pretty well in comparison. But Alex Albon has stepped up and been phenomenal this year, and he is a polar bear that deserves to be there. P3, Baku Dana, Ferrari pitwall deciding if Hamilton should swap places with Leclerc. I've never seen 1, 2, 3, 5. Is it a spout? I'm a little teapot, short turns down. Here's my handle, here's my spout? Trying to remember nursery rhymes and whatever else it was. But anyway, 5 mugs at once. That's the pitwall. Beautifully done. You're on the podium, Dana. Congrats. P2 and just missing out on some P1 merch is Ben A. Gullyford. Ferrari strategy during the Miami Grand Prix. Ferrari just were delivering. But I love the creativity that you have got with these memes. Hence, some of you have made it into the top 10 with your Ferrari strategy stuff. And this one is also fantastic from Toy Story. Oh, I love Buzz Lightyear with his little hat over there. Anyway, brilliant stuff, but you just missed out in P2. So before we get into P1, I just wanted to showcase Oscar Piastri essentially being cooked by his own mum. Nicole Piastri, in reaction to the griddy dance, said that rhythm was never his strong point. I love Nicole Piastri's just presence on social media, the mum energy, the really good mum energy that she gives off in almost everything, just humanises Oscar Piastri for us fans, us mere mortals, doesn't it? So love the Nicole Piastri roast of her own son. Keep it up. The winner of the Miami Grand Prix best reactions, and I've just realised this user slipped through the net again. How have you won as well? But it's with a brilliant meme. Lars Kek W. Lur, dominance, could bore fans. Stop, he's already dead. Look at the Ferrari badge. And then me on the ground crying. So, yeah, that's Matt right now. I'm wearing the Ferrari top because I feel as though it just I needed to put it on. I did. I've been wearing different teams' merch and I felt sad. So I went back to, I was going to say my happiness. We'll see. We'll see if we get a win this year, an actual real win, hopefully with Charles Leclerc. But well done, Lars Kek W. Lur. You've slipped through the net a couple of times. But you've also won some P1 merch. I'll be in contact. Right, that is it. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to the best reactions. If you have enjoyed this episode, please do leave it a lovely thumbs up. We'll be back in a couple of weeks for Imola. Looking forward to that one. Fingers crossed we'll get some action. It's very narrow, but your memes will carry us through. We'll see you soon. Lots of love. Bye.